And if you thought the David Brown was overgrown, I've packed a chainsaw this time, and we're going to have to do quite a bit of cutting before we can get to this one. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. I want to start this video with just a quick word of thanks to my neighbour Jimmy for letting me work on David Brown that was in the last video. It's been the fastest growing video the channel's ever had. It's also brought a lot of new subscribers, so hello to all of you. And of course, big shout out to all my existing subscribers, all the guys that come along every single video without fail and comment and say hello. Lads, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, the David Brown, the videos turned out to be so big that we are going to drop back on it at some point in the not too distant future. We'll try and free off the brakes. And there's a New Holland baler here that Jimmy has also kindly offered to let me work on. So we might just stick that in the David Brown at some point. But in the meantime, he has offered me yet another project for a wood at start. So I'm just going to turn the camera around and show it you now. Okay, so drink this thing in. This is, do you call it a camper, do you call it a motorhome? Not quite sure, but it is in here quite a while. By the looks of it, he reckons it's here at least as long as the David Brown's been parked up. So yeah, we're definitely going to need the chainsaw this time. I'm not going to cut down too many of these trees, so we're probably giving the place a bit of shelter, but we are going to have to do some hacking to get to the front of it. So I'm just going to go around the other side, give you a view of it. Yeah, not going to get in this way either. So all I can tell you about it at the moment is some kind of a camper body on separate chassis. I think I can see a Nissan badge in there. And yeah, other than that, can't tell you much about it. Let's get around the other side, see if we get a little bit better view on it. So this is the driver's side, of course, if it's German. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of hacking to get in here. See, can I get around the front? And yep, it's a Nissan, and it says 3.0 on there, so I take it to mean it's got a 3 litre, probably diesel. Can't even tell if it's got twin or single wheels in the back of it. We'll try and get around and I'll look at that in a minute. But we obviously are going to have to get to that to get to the engine, so we're going to have to lose some of these trees. Okay then. Gonna need the trusty old Husqvarna, and we get the hedge cutter here as well. So I suppose we need to fuel up and get going. Yeah, just looking under the back of it there, you can see there's, I'm not sure if you can, I can, it's a Nissan mud flaps on it. She's got dual wheels, so I'd imagine it's a 3.5 ton chassis cab that this thing is mounted on. So yeah, let's do a bit of cutting, see can we get to the business end. Right. Yeah, so after a little bit of cutting, let's see front end of it. So it's Trade 3.0. I think that's maybe the name of the body that's in this thing. And I'll just try and get these rears and things out of the way. You can get a better view. Right, just looking through the windscreen. I think actually it's quite clean inside now. I think it's probably watertight. There's the engine. So I was looking in the wrong place. Engine's down there between the front seats. We can't see that now. You might be able to see it there. So yeah, at least I'm gonna have a dry environment to work in. So let's try and get in there, take it. Not sure if the front panel opens or not. I don't think it does actually. So just clear a bit more stuff on that side and see can we get in. Okay, let's see if we can get inside. Oh, I'm sure there's nothing living in here before I commit. Don't think there is. All right. Oh, there is water on the ground, unfortunately. Right. I have to oil those door catches as well. So, 105,000 kilometers. Whoa, this thing's got low K's in it. And it definitely hasn't been around, I'd say. So yeah, 105,000 kilometers. In all money, that's what? 67,000 miles, I would guess. Looks to have a Nissan 4-cylinder diesel, 5-speed manual gearbox. So yeah, so being German import, of course, it's left-hand drive. Just had a look there, and it's got a insurance cert from it expired in 0910, so it's actually been on the road far more recently than I thought. Back to the engine down here. So it is a Nissan 4-cylinder, which fills me with hope, because I reckon that shouldn't be a difficult engine to get to start, especially given the low mileage on it. So I can't see any glow plugs in it, unless they're on the exhaust side. I'm not hugely familiar with these engines, so I'll have to check it out. Just trying to see down there if that's another alternator or air conditioning pump, or what is it, or maybe power steering pump. So I think we're going to have to get a little bit more light in here before we start to try and get it to run. Let's have the, oh Jesus, that's well seized on there. Okay, shake the coolant. Lovely clean mix of antifreeze in there, nice and green. So obviously that's alright. Don't have a rag with me now to wipe the dipstick, but it's definitely all in it, and it doesn't look bad actually. So yeah, gonna, luckily as well, you can probably see down there, you can see the ground, but there hasn't really been much growth up in here apart from the odd little vine which you'll be able to pull out of there. Generally it's pretty clean. Actually, I thought there was an alternator this side. It's not. That is possibly a power steering pump or something. We'll look at that in a minute, and that is, looks like an alternator. Again, I'll have to have a proper look at it in a sec. But yeah, it's in quite good shape in here. Looks pretty clean. I'm not sure, wouldn't know much about Nissan, so I'd have to go back and look, but I'd imagine that this is probably a Cabstar chassis. No, take a look in the back. Yeah, it's not bad. It seems to be relatively watertight in here. There's toilet and shower there, and various living accommodation and things, all intact. And Luckily, like floors and everything seem to be in good shape in it. Don't we'll be able to open this door. We'll have a try. Yeah, out into the growth. So we might try and do a general cut around this thing, see if we can get a better view of it. Okay, right. I think what I'm going to have to do is probably cut my way around the outside and see can I find where the batteries would live. Turning this engine by hand probably ain't going to be an option, but I would say that I doubt very much that it's seized, or I can put a battery in it and she'll turn right over. I was going to attempt to escape out through the other side, but that is clearly overgrown. There's branches of trees and he's coming across here, so I have to exit through the driver's side. I can't get over the condition. Look at the upholstery in this thing. It is absolutely immaculate, but then again, mileage is so low, it's bound to be clean. Okay, we're in. So, just trying to see now where the batteries possibly live. I wonder if they're internal, under the floor. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some light down here, but that's definitely where batteries live. Okay, so I think I'm kind of prepared now. I've got what I believe to be the main engine battery lead. I've disconnected the cable that was going to the fuses, which are going to the inverter, and this changeover switch, so I'll just disconnect it. Photographed everything of course before I did it. I'd always advise that, so you know how to put it back together after. I think this is the main earth care, so I have attached the isolator and lead setup I had from the David Brown. So I'm just going to drop the battery in there, connect the positive, and we'll just have a look through the engine bay and then give her power. Okay, it was a bit of a battle, but I think I got it. Hopefully, yeah, I got this engine cover out. No, let's get it out without damaging these seats. Just going to put the camera down. Not taking any chances with this thing. Oh, very extinguisher. Right, I'm going to try battery switch. I'm going to stay back. So far so good. Nothing has gone bang yet. Right, step up here and see do we have power. Right, sounds like we might have something. Just gonna move stuff around a bit. See, can I get her to crank? Ooh, glow plug light. No, we're getting nothing. No, doesn't want to crank over. Let's try it again. Alright, so there's relays over there somewhere, obviously glow plug is on them. We're getting other warning lights. Let's try it again. No. Okay. And the strange thing is, it's not her connection because the lights are not going off in the dash. Alright. Right, day 2, back at it again. Now, first thing I want to try is just looking down into the engine bay. I can only see like a really tiny air strap going down there. So I just put my jump lead onto the negative. Just going to turn on the battery switch now, and I'm going to see, just can I get any reaction out of it with that. Maybe we're getting, no, it's a long shot, but we mightn't be getting much air to that engine. So we'll just give it a go. Roll into position here. So right down there is the solenoid, and I'm sure if you'll be able to see it, I can barely see it. Let's see if I can get a little light down the side. Sitting right there. Connections and things on it look crusty enough. I think probably the easiest way to get access is throw off that jump lead there. I'm going to unbolt the fuel filter housing and just tie it out of my way, and that should hopefully get me enough space to get to the starter. I'll just switch off that battery switch again there, and I'm going to disconnect the battery positive and we get going on it. I'll see if I can clean up the connections. I might also see, I might actually extend the wire that goes to activate the solenoid up and just bring it straight off the battery and see can I get it to crank that way, just in case we're not getting power for the dash, but we can check that as well anyway easily enough. So let's do some ripping. Okay, with the fuel filter moved out of the way slightly, I can't take it out obviously completely or I'm going to disturb the lines, but down in there you can see the starter and the starter solenoid are quite rusty. I think I'm going to try whipping that connection off, that main battery connection, cleaning it up, and we'll unplug the cable to energize the solenoid. We'll see if we're getting power there. So I'll probably take that out first and we'll test to see can we get some power there when I turn the key. Okay, see will it work for you this time now, but no, earth isn't good enough. But anyhow, I'm getting 12 volts at the cable that should be connected to the solenoid. So the problem is the starter or the solenoid. So next step is to just move that filter a bit further out of the way, and I'm going to reach down there and disconnect the main battery lead off the solenoid and clean it up, clean up the connections, give the solenoid a couple of taps of a hammer, and we'll see can we get it to work that way. Okay, so I figured the best way to get to the starter hopefully is still from the top, so I've just removed the fuel filter. So undid the 2 pipes, unplugged the water sensor, and unplugged the little, there's even a little water drain pipe that goes from the bottom of the filter down presumably onto the road, so I've disconnected that. At least I can work in there now without tearing the arms off myself. So I'll see can I get down, get that starter. I think probably the easiest route now is just actually remove it completely and we'll test it on the bench. So with the filter removed, you'll be able to see the starter down there. It's actually tiny for the size of the engine, and what I am really hoping, if the starter is shot, there is a Nissan V8 here, and I was really hoping that it's the same starter motor and that I can just swap it out. But I can see one bolt in the top, that's probably 2 underneath. I'm going to have to get underneath this thing somehow. I'm going to have to just kind of dig a hole to the side of it and try and crawl in, but try and get this top bolt out. I've tried undoing the main lead in the solenoid there, but I'm afraid I'm just going to make it worse. So I think starter removal is probably the easiest thing at this stage. Okay, so still trying to get the starter motor off this thing, and now underneath it. Thought I'd show you the chassis. It generally looks pretty clean under here. It's the exhaust. Let's kind of flip around. That's me lying pretty uncomfortably underneath this thing, and let's bring you up here. There's the starter motor. Pretty small starter. There's only 2 bolts only, but my god, it has fought me every inch of the way. So just trying to get access in here. The other bolt I had to come down through the cab basically to do. Other than that, under here, just give you a look around. There's a lot of oil in the sump. But the chassis looks good. I'd imagine the brakes are going to be seasoned. Plus another thing, that, I'm just trying to get the camera back. If it's sorry, now I'm kind of restricted under here. That is the clutch actuating fork. So hanging up here, I've just pushed it up here out of the way somewhere. There it is. Oh, I dropped the light. That is the clutch slave cylinder, and I popped the piston out of that, so I'm going to need to remove that, clean up the spore. Probably have to put a new seal in it and bleed it through, try and get clutch back in this thing. My wedge lever in there afterwards, I'm just not sure what way that goes on. I think that's it in position, and just see if this clutch is free. I don't want to try forcing it with the slave cylinder, so I might just put something in here. But in the meantime, yeah, Dev Brown was definitely a lot easier. I mean, if I was going to pick something to have starter problems with, it would have been the Dev Brown, not this, not lying in the dirt. Now, on a positive, at least the growth under here is pretty much non-existent, and the water from the rain hasn't gotten in yet. So yeah, I'll come back to you shortly. One other thing I've noticed while I'm under here is this is the, obviously, the diesel tank, and it sounds empty, but I might spray a bit of oil in this to see can we undo that drain plug, and just make sure that there's no water or anything sitting at the bottom, because we're going to have to put some fresh fuel into it anyhow to get it started. I'll just have a look at these fuel lines and make sure they're alright as well. Actually, that's not a fuel line. Oh, it is. Yeah, sorry, that plastic pipe you can see up there has a rubber end on it. So that is the fuel feed, and I'd imagine the other one is the return line. So that short rubber hose will replace as well, because it's kind of perished. Alright, let's get cracking. Okay, so I've got the starter disconnected from the engine, but I've still got the main battery positive lead attached there. When I was trying to open it with the starter in position, it was, I could tell it was trying to turn inside the solenoid, so I want to see if there's a nut behind the cable as well that I can get a spanner onto. I just don't want to damage the solenoid. I'll spray the whole thing down with WD-40 now and see can I crack it loose, and then we'll take the starter back to the workshop, get it on the bench and take a look at it. Alright, managed to crack this drain plug loose. Oh, there is some diesel in it. Gonna drain. Now what? I'm gonna leave it there, because if there was any water in it, it would have come out by now. I think that'll be fine. I just draw it up through the filters, and I might add some fresh fuel just to bring up the levels. So the starter motor really did put up a battle getting it out of there, but it would not surprise me if I put this on the bench and it actually works. That all that moving around freed it off. I think it's the solenoid is the issue rather than the starter itself. Now I'm going to obviously clean up all these electrical connections as best I can, and I might have a look into the starter itself, see how it looks. I think if this won't work, we're going to have a look. There's a Vanish part here as well. I'm kind of hoping that it's the same starter motor, and that I'll have a look on my way out. But let's get this thing back and see can we get it to turn. Okay, so I have it solenoid hooked up, but I'm getting absolutely nothing out of it. So it's time to start dismantling it. motor end of it is looking very well. I've been worried that there was water or something gone in here, but it seems to be fine. I assume there's some kind of reduction gears in here, and this is now turning since they removed it. Oh, I'll just stop there again now, but it's just the way it is. Let's just get a Phillips screwdriver now and pull the solenoid off and have a look. Okay, so after a lot of tests, I couldn't get the solenoid to move, and the screws, the heads were rounded off, so I ended up having to drill them. Now I'm going to have to try and thread these out. I'm going to spray them well, and at least now I have access to everything. I can oil it up, but there was all this dust in here and corrosion, so I think that piston must have been sea-solid. And there you can see the rust marks, so I'm just going to take it apart and clean it up, lubricate it, do the same with the rest of the starter, and hopefully I'll put it together in a minute and see can we get it to work. Yeah, oh yeah, there it goes, it's come out, but you can see all the rust in the shoulder, so I'm going to clean all that up with a Scotch Brite pad. The inside of the board is okay, it just needs the old lubricant that was in there cleaned out properly, and use a bit of electrical contact cleaner in there, clean it up, clean out the edges, lubricate this, put it back together, and then with any luck, solenoid should work. Yeah, no, it's a bit slow now, but the connection probably isn't the greatest there. What I'm going to do now as well is put my multimeter on terminals at the back and continuity, just so we can establish if the electrical contacts are being made when the solenoid closes. So here the meter continuity buds are coming on. Just going to pull the plunger out another bit and see how it reacts. Right, so this is the solenoid, fairly straightforward. That's the one to energize the coil, that's the battery connection, and that is the connection for the starter motor. This is the plunger, comes out of there, and in here you will see when the plunger goes back, it pushes that little pip in there which closes the electrical contact for the starter motor, so it pre-engages. So let's put this back in here, go to the next part. So this is a geared starter, so you can see pinion is here, that's in the rest position before the starter is engaged, and here is the arm that the plunger acts on. So when you engage the starter, it pulls that back, shoots the pinion forward and engages. So I'll just drop it down there, see that, and the little arm is in the back position. Inside here then is the little gearbox. This is a geared starter, and of course over here then we have the electrical element. So I'm just going to bolt all the components back together, we put it in the vise, get power to it and see does it work. Okay, so I don't have the right screws to hold the solenoid on, so I've just cable tied it for the moment, but let's see if it'll throw the pinion gear out. I'm getting nothing. Okay. Not getting enough of an earth. Let's fix it together a bit better. Right, so I've got a plate tie wrapped on there to try and get an earth on it and things. Just take it another little step up the sketchy scale. Now let's see what it does. Absolutely nothing. Alright. Okay, starters back together. Went to a neighbour of mine who does a lot of work on starters, and he had the correct screws to hold on the solenoid. Lucky I went in because I lost the spring out of here. I dropped it out, never put it in between the piston and the back. So he put that in as well. He also repaired the treads here. He had a tread foil which made a nice job of it, because when I tried bench testing it, I'd had the jump lead on there, and I obviously cooked the nut on there when I was trying to turn it over, and he bench tested it, so it's good to go. Just take it down now and bolt it in, and hopefully we can get this thing fired up this evening. So what do we think? Should we drag this thing out and put it on the back of the David Brown someday? Think to make a pretty spectacular video. Okay, starters reinstalled, connected back up. Moment of truth. Let's connect the battery and see will it turn over. Right, I did not expect that. I don't even have a fuel line connected to this thing. That is absolutely incredible. I need to drop the filter back there and connect it. Yeah, right, that just cut this video very short. Okay, I got it connected up. I'll be back to you in 2 minutes. Okay, I've connected my little primer bulb onto the outgoing side of the fuel filter, and I just pumped some fuel through. So filter should be full. Let's draw fuel from the tank. Just connect the line to the engine now, and let's see if she'll fire back up. By the way, I shut it off a while ago. It didn't cut out because the fact I had no fuel lines connected. I was trying to avoid having to go to the trouble of bleeding it. So let's connect it up, and hopefully enough fuel will get into that line to keep it going. Okay, let's see if it fires up the second time. No doubt that it probably will. Oh. Right. Alright. Yeah. Gonna try it once more. That's more like it. Okay. I'm just going to put the fuel filter in place properly. Door just shut in the wind, and we'll try it again. And I'm just going to do some cleaning out here because I've got tools and crap everywhere and diesel, so I don't want to spill it all over this interior. Right, fuel filters installed properly now. Let's Start it up once more. I'm going to pop outside and see how the sound's like. A little bit of smoke, but nothing much. Give it a little rev. And of course it won't idle down again. Gonna have to lubricate that cable. We have oil pressure, I would assume. Actually, there's no oil pressure gauge there, sorry. But yeah. No, push that throttle cable back and I'm gonna let it idle again for a while. I would say that's a runner. It's going to shut it down. We'll finish this one out. Okay, so we've answered the question. Yes, it does start. So I'm going to leave the video at that. If you want me to come back and try and get this thing actually moving, which would just involve rebuilding that clutch slave cylinder, we'd have to do a little bit of tree surgery, and my biggest fear is that the brakes are stuck on, but if we could get the thing into gear, maybe we'd be able to free it out, and need to free out that throttle cable as well so that it can work the throttle reliably. That is it. Thank you for watching. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos. Leave a comment down below, say hello if you're one of the regulars, or if you're new around here, if you have an opinion of this thing, drop in the comments, and hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed it, and that is it. See you in the next video.